All right, I'm gonna give it a couple minutes, see if anybody else wants to jump in. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. Um, so yeah, welcome to another live stream. I'm Jeff, the Crypto Temp. I run the Swag Stake Pool, and yeah, without further ado, I wanted to bring to you guys some of the initial information that I've been seeing from rewards that were just distributed with over the past 18 hours now. Some key and information nuggets of information I thought was pretty interesting. Now, granted, like I said, this is still fluid, still going through. We're still going to get a lot more data points, but I wanted to convey to some of the community as well as the operators that what I've seen and the preliminary analysis of some of the information that I've seen. And so, without further ado, you can see inside the actual spreadsheet there is a wide ranging of different stake pools that I've pulled from. Pulled all this information from our two favorite websites, being ADA Pools as well as Pool Tool, and the top of the list being 65,000 total ADA staked from size to all the way down to 178 million ADA staked with that stake pool. And the way I went about aggregating this information was I wanted to identify my control element was, as you can see on the left, or on the right rather, excuse me, is the I wanted to see how much it would take for a delegator to receive roughly around that range of 25 to 30 ADA in rewards for this specific epoch. Now, as you can see on the list, there's a wide range of different delegated stake, and this information I won't say is completely concise and accurate because we don't know. In terms of looking at specifically looking at the delegated stake, we don't know if these individual added more ADA or subtracted more ADA. We just don't know, but we can make some calculated assumptions by assuming as it's a trend that there was this amount of ADA at the snapshot, and therefore this individual received X amount of rewards. And so to address the elephant in the room, which is the first piece of information that I wanted to convey, was there is a subset of stake pools that are, if they're under a threshold, which I call actually micro pools, that have around 650,000 to 750,000 total ADA staked or less, they're having a rough go with their delegators receiving an optimal amount of rewards from this instance of rewards that we saw over the past 18 hours. As you can see, the pool that has around 65,000 total staked ADA, they didn't receive any rewards. the pool received no reward outside of the 50 ADA that the pool received relative to its stake. That 50 ADA went directly to the owner of the pool, and nobody else saw any rewards. And then if you can go down even lower to the next one, a pool with 475,000 total ADA staked only received 26 rewards in ADA after they took the cost per epoch and the pool margin. And the reason for that is being, and shout out to Sonny because he conveyed this to me, it has more to do with right now the cost per epoch minimum. So I didn't mean to do that. So if you look at it, the cost per epoch right now is 340 ADA. So if a small pool is forced to charge 340 ADA right now per epoch, they're taking a considerable amount of the rewards, unfortunately, and that's no fault of their own. It's just how it's set up right now. So kind of think about that as a delegator. If you understand that going into, I want to support a smaller pool that maybe has, under 700,000 because I like their vision, I like what their mission set is, that's perfectly fine. And I'm a huge proponent of small pools. I fully, wholeheartedly support decentralization, and I think it will be writ large better for the ecosystem overall. But with that being said, I got to be real. Right now, it's just not advantageous for a delegator to be in a smaller pool right now because if their sole purpose is to look at rewards, it doesn't ring true right now. But if you understand that going into, I'm still going to stick with this small pool because I support what they're doing, I have a level of appreciation for them, by all means, that's dope. I hope more people are just like you. But there is a threshold, right? As you go down the list, you start seeing a threshold right around 2.5 million and higher, where there's a certain demographic of delegator that has around that sweet spot of around 30 to 40,000 ADA. That return on stake is pretty consistent with around 25, 28 ADA. And so there is a threshold right there where I've noticed, like I said, right in this area is where you start seeing, if I can get my mouse to go that right. There we go. Around that sweet spot right there is where you start seeing, okay, the return on stake's pretty consistent, given the fact that the pool is making the blocks that they are slotted for. Now, going into this epoch, performance will matter. If the pool is not going into this epoch, the last two epochs, the performance didn't matter. As long as you minted a block, you were good to go. This epoch, performance matters as a stake pool operator. If you were slotted to make three pools or three blocks, and for whatever reason you only make two, you will be penalized. And that will go into a calculation of the rewards. But if, as it currently stands, as I see it, as a pool that has around, the 2.5 seems to be the threshold right now. That may change, but a pool that has around 2.5 million ADA, and they mint the blocks that they're supposed to mint, the return on stake is comparable, I'll say, to the community. That's pretty much all I have on the actual spreadsheet itself. I also want to convey to the smaller stake pools out there, don't let this discourage you. Keep striving, keep doing what you guys are doing. Your time in the sun will come. And I will also give you one key aspect of advice, or one piece of advice, excuse me. There's 1,000 pools out here, right? Let's be honest. There's 1,000 pools out here, and you have to get creative. You have to identify some way that you are bringing value. In an ideal world, we run a pool. We're helping decentralization. we're going to get delegators. But if the delegators don't know you, if the delegators don't see the value you're bringing outside of that, unfortunately, that is going to play a role in how they delegate their ADA. That's the main thing that I keep coming across when I'm asking, random delegators is, hey, well, why did you delegate to X? Oh, because he runs a YouTube channel, or he does X, or he runs Pool2, he writes articles, blah blah blah, or she does this, or she's a huge proponent in the ecosystem, right? Figure out how you can bring value and move forward with that, and just keep grinding. Don't let any of this discourage you. I just wanted to give out my initial thoughts on what I was seeing. That's pretty much it. I'll open it up to any questions. Let's see that anybody has. Don't know how I don't know if I can see the questions. Okay, so looking at the chat, I don't see any questions, but actually I see one from Dan. What are your thoughts on the low pool margin, what are your thoughts on low 0% to 1 pool or 1% margins? I just don't think it's sustainable. I don't have an issue with it per se, but consider what a pool, how is that pool going to sustain itself at 1%? Is it 1% off of 100 million total staked? That's sustainable, right? But if the pool is 1% off of 10 million total ADA stake, I'm not sure how that's sustainable. I truly don't know how that's sustainable, but maybe they understand their profit margins, their cost for operations. Maybe they've taken that all into account. But as someone that wants to do more in the community than just run a stake pool, a lot of my operations come from, or a lot of my costs initially come from, like I said, the operation and promotion of my pool. On top of that, I want to add more value with content, as well as start reaching out to devs to actually bring them into the fold, so we can start creating value on top of Cardano. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on 1% or 0% pool margins. I don't have an issue with them. I just don't know how smaller pools are gonna make that a sustainable model. Any other questions? Okay. I appreciate you guys taking the time to jump in here and essentially listen to what I have to say. And until next time, cheers.